little short story. There was once a man who insisted he was sane after hallucinating and murdering an old man that he claimed to love. But he was tormented by the man's pale blue vulture-like eye, and for 7 nights he sneaked into the old man's room at night while he slept to watch him, waiting for the eye to open. Every night for 7 nights the eye stayed shut, so he didn't kill him. But on the 8th night the eye opened. So driven by obsession and insanity, he suffocated the old man in bed and dismembered his body and hid the remains under the floorboards. Taking pride in what he had done, it was a victory. He was triumphant, but it wasn't exactly quiet. Someone heard screaming and alerted the authorities. And in his confidence, he invited the men and gave them the grand tour of the house. He was so confident that he even brought chairs for them to sit in, right above the remains in the floor. At first, he felt like he won. His confidence was high, but after a while, he started hearing a faint, rhythmic pounding. And it kept getting louder and louder and louder, and he believed the sound was of the dead man's beating heart in the floor. He eventually became hysterical and overwhelmed by guilt and paranoia. He finally broke down and confessed to the murder and demanded they tear up the floorboards to stop the unbearable pounding in his head. The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, I believe this is where Pirate Software is headed. Metaphorically, referring to his streaming career, I mean. I think he is spiraling, and soon he's just gonna say, fuck it all, and completely destroy everything he has built thus far. And I think he should. This is what happens when you build your brand on bullshit and fake good vibes. Eventually, it all collapses. And it happens overnight. Just like this situation that just happened to Pirate Software. The bullshit was piling and piling and piling, and then it all collapsed overnight. Oh, by the way, I'm a hologram now. And Pirate Software is in trouble again. We got coverage from Quintheo. This dude's content is a kind of medium effort, investigatory, drama slap, social media content that I like nowadays. At least for now. Highly recommend you subscribe to him. I got him linked down there in the description along with all of my other places. Let's get into it.
Splendid timing! Who the hell do you think I am?
Whatever happens, happens.
I think she's right. You are retarded.
Buy them all. Link in the description. I got 3 different parts pulled together for this video, and it gets progressively worse as it goes on. We got a false flagging situation going on. We got Pirate Software being completely not self-aware again, and a mass exodus from the Pirate Software parasocial relationship.
These things strike fear into a nigga's heart. A job application.
In today's video,
someone said on the Discord, I'm going a different route and reporting it for nudity since the guy displayed a drawing of a male penis on stream. Hit it from as many angles as possible and Twitch might actually care about one of them. Pirate responds, honestly, that is hilarious.
And my favorite part, coming in here and seeing the ferrets just makes me really happy and fuzzy inside.
Oh my god, no way, no way. Okay guys, I'm gonna tell you what ImPheetus just said. ImPheetus just typed in the Knights of the Bucket chat. Sadly, Twitch is giving me a 7-day suspension for the Pirate Software ban. That's insane.
I do sincerely believe that after this, Twitch needs to kind of look into this whole suspension and banning system. When I received the suspension, it had one word, harassment. That's it. There was no example, there was no detail, there was nothing. It just said, harassment, you're suspended for 7 days.
Pirate Software might be buying views.
Paid clippers that are working full-time to put this stuff out on the internet.
The rest of his mod team have either been fired or jumped ship.
Currently, there is a really big event going on hosted by the Burnt Peanut called Peanut's Wasteland. It's a major Rust streamer server that launched on April 3rd. It's been going through, And an individual who's been participating in this huge event is a streamer named ImPheetus. They're boasting a sweet 100,000 followers on their Twitch channel, and as you can see here, they are currently banned due to a violation of Twitch's community guideline.
At this point, I think people should just hop off of Twitch completely. I get it, that's where the money comes from, but it helps nothing if you just lose everything suddenly overnight because Twitch decided to ban you for a crazy reason that makes sense to nobody but them. It's too slippery and too dangerous. Streamers need to start migrating. I kind of think that might be what Twitch wants. They want to be free and open to stream on, but they also only want certain types of people to stream. People who stick to the mainstream narrative that they like to uphold, which is code for the whole thing is rotten and it's falling apart. It's unsustainable. You can't actually do that and be successful. They're making too many rules to regulate normal people while not regulating the less fortunate. You know what I'm talking about. And it just makes everything worse.
Lock in, chat. All right. Let's go. Everybody gather around. We're heading to where I used to work, but not anymore. Blizzard Entertainment. That's right. Over 6 years. Some of the best development. Great times. Alright, so here we are. Yeah, moving inside. Got a photograph of my mage. Look at that. There I am. Yeah. That was me right before my entire team got wiped. Yeah, idiots. Should have listened to the callouts. Should have listened to the callouts. And my favorite part. Coming in here and seeing the ferrets just makes me really happy and fuzzy inside. My name's Pirate. I actually used to work at Blizzard. I'm just here trying to build a Taj Mahal, man. I don't mean any harm against anybody.
No, we were coming to defend the Taj Mahal.
Hello, guys.
This guy's with me. He's with me. Yeah, I actually used to work for Blizzard, and this is something that I modeled kind of to represent my career. I'm actually second gen Blizz too. If that. I do. In fact, I run a ferret rescue.
Oh wow! Wow!
I have a few, several adult ferrets that I could actually you could adopt right now. What would it cost to get access back to my Taj Mahals here? And to be clear, I'm actually it depends. I mean, my family. I'm actually second gen Blizz. Mom and Dad used to work there. They procreated. And then they popped me out, and I've been working there for about 6 years, and then I left to do OnlyFans. No, I'm not even close. Okay. As a matter of fact, I have a managem, but I just decided not to use it because I wanted to watch them die. Yeah, I said it.
This is seriously what got this guy banned. Did Pirate Software even care about this? This shit seems so stupid and so meaningless that even if Pirate Software thought it was crass,
That's crass.
I don't think they actually would do anything about this. This seems like probably some parasocial fans, or even some haters, probably both, because parasocial fans are retarded, and the haters know how to take advantage of that and get them all to do a stupid thing that makes Pirate Software look bad. He did it to himself. This is the audience that he wanted.
But that is not how everybody took it. Now I say that because I'm going to show you that Pirate Software ends up seeing this stuff and ends up chatting about it in his Discord, and I have those messages and I'll read through them to show you his reaction. But I want to make it clear that behind closed doors, it seemed like there was some discussion happening between ImPheetus's main moderator as well as the head mod Kronos for Pirate Software. But I do feel like this context is important because it still might point to what had gone down to lead to ImPheetus getting banned. It starts off with Pirate posting one of the Twitch clips of ImPheetus doing the pirate thing, and he's saying, "This is why we have dozens of people crashing the stream saying I'm playing Rust." Some of his other community members are also, you know, messaging and stuff during it. I'll read through some of them as Pirate replies to them. He continues on, I don't even know this guy, and he's supposed to be an ambassador for Twitch. He's been doing it all week. Sub goals for it. Tons of clips. It's fucking weird. Someone replies, so report them to Twitch. Shit makes no sense. And Twitch is okay with that? Is that something you can contact your partner manager about? I bet. He responds back, Twitch has not given a shit. They keep going, they won't, but they're using your likelihood to earn money, and I think you can go legal with that, which is a crazy line. And Pirate himself also, you know, thinks that that's a bit insane. He replies to them saying, lol, no. Someone else had said, surprised other streamers are okay with it. He replies back, I'm not. Following up, he posts a clip of him showing off Blizzard HQ, and another post here from Twitch Clips. He's running sub goals around it and even made his base into Blizzard. Like, this shit is unhinged. Someone else saying, I hope Twitch actually does something, to which he responds, big doubt they will, TBH. The fucked part is, I don't even know this guy. He's just attacking some character he thinks I am at this point. Just another example of fucking weirdo behavior.
You know, I was gonna come into this video trying to defend him, and he just makes it so hard. This guy is such a douchebag. so unlikable. He fails to see that the online world is a never-ending episode of South Park. He is not this guy. He is this guy. Just embrace it. If you don't, then it just gets worse. And if you already thought this was ruining your life, oh boy, I got some news for you. They all find out. They all find out eventually. Just ask all the popular content creators from a decade ago. None of them are at the top anymore. None of them are hardly even really still around. Some of them have audiences, but like they're irrelevant. And then look at a decade before that. You had like internet radio personalities were like where the podcast space and reaction space is. That's what it was then. Then before that you had public broadcast personalities. And before that you had like radio personalities. Like talk show personalities, stuff like that every decade, and people just move on and forget. And the people at the top who are the most popular think that they're gonna remain the most popular, but they make shit decisions and it all crumbles down around them. And it happens every 10 years, and they're just like going with the flow. They're not paying attention to what's happening around them. I swear, these people don't know anything about history or how the world was built and where it all came from and what is actually being done with all that was built back then. Now, it's like all they care about is the 7 deadly sins. Seriously. It's basically all the leftoids and most of the rightards. You like that one? I don't know. I don't really feel that one. We don't really have a leftoid equivalent for the rightoids. Doesn't really sound real. Sounds like a medicine.
Which Pirate is right. He's making fun of the character of Pirate Software, which is a culmination of all the goofy, dumb shit that he was doing during his big drama. Someone said on the Discord, I'm going a different route and reporting it for nudity since the guy displayed a drawing of a male penis on stream. Hit it from as many angles as possible and Twitch might actually care about one of them. Pirate responds, honestly, that is hilarious. Sure, you just forgot to type stay frosty at the end. Now, following a bit of this discourse, it got back to ImPheetus, and his head mod ended up reaching out to, Pirate's Discord, and there seemed to be some discourse between him and Kronos like I was talking about earlier. This is a message on Pirate's server where Kronos is saying, he's talking about someone saying that someone's spreading claims, and then just confirming that I'm chatting with Dead Moose who has reached out to me. 99% of the issue has been chat hoppers and people trying to cause drama, people making out that Thor is much more upset than he actually is. Same as people claiming that Fetus is openly targeting Thor, etc. It's all chat hopper drama. Great, but unfortunately, of course, that's not where the story ends. So this came out on April 13th, and then April 14th is when ImPheetus ends up getting banned. To be clear, though, a suspension of 7 days. Now, it's a big deal because for, ImPheetus, he's a big creator. He's got over 100,000 followers, but he's, playing with the biggest right now. He's in a streamer event with a Burnt Peanut, Moist Critical, all these other huge names. To lose access to being able to create content during one of the biggest events that I think he's been a part of, it's a huge issue. Now, this is his first post into his Discord here, saying, yeah, sorry guys, I don't want to let you guys down and certainly didn't want to cause any issues. To be clear, if I was reached out to or communicated directly by Twitch that what I was doing was not okay, I would have fully stopped. I'm a little disappointed in the lack of warning, but it is what it is. Later on in the evening, he makes a second post into his Discord saying, well, I made the point that a little direct communication would have remedied this immediately, and not to mention his mod did indicate there was no issue with it outside of toxic chatters trying to manufacture drama. Never was my intent to cause issues or harass or bother anyone, just some lighthearted comedy. If I got an email or a message saying, hey Fetus, we need you to stop doing this, done, full stop. But I was just hit with a 7-day ban without warning, so I'm a bit disappointed. Now, he ends up going through and putting through an appeal. He comments on that saying, I think I'll wait to hear the answer on my appeal. Given my track record on Twitch, I'm hopeful they will lift the ban. I wrote a well-written appeal from the heart, so hopefully they see this wasn't anything with malicious intent. People were chatting in his Discord, assuming what was going on and that perhaps it was an automated thing, but he ends up commenting later on, yesterday for me, saying it wasn't automated. Sadly, they deleted all the VODs, so I wouldn't be able to provide proof of me speaking up against the hatred the guy receives.
Oh my god, no way. Okay, guys, all right, I'm going to tell you what Fetus just said. Fetus just typed in the Knights of the Buggers chat, Sadly, Twitch is giving me a 7-day suspension for the pirate software bit. That's insane. That is fucking insane.
They just made it worse.
If everyone would have left this alone and not said anything, it wouldn't have been a big deal at all. This was such a non-issue, and it caused such a giant explosion. Like, this shit by the end of this video gets 1,000 times worse. And it's gonna get worse beyond this video. Already, while I'm doing this video, more news came out that I can't get into, or this video is gonna end up being like 4 hours long, and it's never gonna come out because stuff just keeps happening. This is definitely not gonna be the last I'm speaking on this situation. Has nobody ever heard of the Streisand effect? Don't bring attention to something that is such a non-issue to the public spaces. People will meme the fuck out of it if you try and make it a problem, and they will make it so much worse for you. It's not worth it. You have to go into the internet truly not giving a fuck about anything anybody says about you. You know, unless it's actually defamatory or damaging to you in an actual real way. Not just because you built your fake brand a certain way and you can't have anything or anyone outside of that to be interacting with you on public platforms. It doesn't work like that. And the more you try and make yourself squeaky clean, when you aren't, and the more you get angry about jokes and commentary and criticism and other bullshit, the worse it's gonna get. Nobody likes to see people actually get mad about shit that is manufactured and meaningless and avoidable drama on the internet.
There is no way.
Now, I think it's this particular clip in conjunction with the fact that he was, doing a parody of Pirate Software that has a lot of people suspecting that Pirate Software is directly responsible for his suspension on Twitch. And as of right now, we just don't know that. Could it have been that Pirate Software directly reported him? Sure, it could be the case, but it could also be a variety of other things. It could have just been that Twitch ended up deciding to do that because he's a Twitch ambassador. I don't really exactly know how that works, but fundamentally, we just don't have a direct answer. And Peanut here is not saying that Pirate Software is the reason that he got banned. He's saying that the Pirate Software bit is the reason that he got banned, or at least that's what he's heard from ImPheetus. But we do have a bit of good news from ImPheetus. As of just this morning here, 2 a.m. Gentlemen, I just want to say I sincerely appreciate all the support. You guys are the defining reason why I do this. I cannot stress in words how pumped I am to come back. We will be back worst case Friday night, possibly and hopefully tomorrow. I think he means today. I have many staff, creators, and community members pledging support, and I couldn't be more grateful. Thanks for sticking with me. We're going to pump so fucking hard, etc., etc. He's super excited. And so it looks like from the support from not only Burnt Peanut, who said he had reached out to some of his people, as well as just the overwhelming support for ImPheetus, it seems that they're overturning that suspension a bit early for him.
Quintheo interviewed ImPheetus, and it was very telling of how Twitch operates. Less really about Pirate Software, although Pirate Software is an ambassador of Twitch, whatever that means. You can't be talking shit about their golden boys. I actually have some crazy shit to talk about that. It seems it may be likely that even Pirate Software could be quietly thinking of moving away from Twitch. More on that later in the video. Also, I think ImPheetus is also a Twitch ambassador. I don't know what the fuck that means. Anyway, interview, go!
Do you know yourself what exactly got you banned now? Like from
Twitch? So okay. I can confirm 100% that the 7-day suspension that I received was a result of the Pirate Software bit. Why don't we just start from like day one? So I was invited to this Rust server, which is a Rust roleplay server. And I thought to myself, it would be a little cool and interesting to try to make, a little more than just some normal vanilla Rust. I thought it would be cool to do a bit of a roleplay character. And I'm known for that in the past. Like I've been doing this since I was in junior high. I just have a weird way of doing voice impressions and zany little characters of people. I mean, it's all in, good nature. It's not to be sinister or disrespectful or defamatory or anything. So I just thought, this might be a funny idea. For whatever reason, I don't know how this even started. I'm genuinely struggling to remember the first time I did it. I think Pirate Software came up in conversation in my stream chat one night. And I don't know how or why, but I just did like a voice impression of him, yeah, I used to work at Blizzard for over 6 years. That's right. And people were like, oh my God, that's so funny, So I joined the server and I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it be funny if I played as if I was Pirate Software, and not in a mean way where I'm actually trying to impersonate him, like fool people that I'm actually him, but in a way that's blatantly obvious that it's me and I'm just doing like this silly roleplay character around the themes of that whole kind of crazy WoW episode, using just quotes like the Blizzard stuff and his mage and his ferrets, like stuff like that he's publicly known for.
This is stuff that we've known
exactly.
about for a while. It is just a reiteration of the goofy shit that did go down. Like,
yeah, it's just memes, bro. Like it seemed pretty harmless to me. I mean, after a day or two of it, somebody came into my Discord, like a random viewer came into my Discord and posted a bunch of discussion that apparently was going on in his Discord, claiming he's wondering why people were going into his chat, asking him why he wasn't streaming Rust, just stuff like that. He made a few comments regarding it, you know, claiming that the Rust section is unhinged, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of common. I don't know why people talk so badly about the Rust section. We got a lot of good people there, but moving forward, it made very clear that, okay, I'm kind of on his radar at this point. So I held off for the following day, and his mod came into my chat, into my Discord rather, and posted in clear writing. I think I sent you a screenshot of the message. In fact, he said very clearly that Pirate was aware of the bid I was doing and he wasn't bothered by it. And outside, I think the wording he used specifically, it was like something along the lines of, outside of toxic chat hoppers trying to manufacture drama, there was no issue.
Yes, and in particular, the thing I found interesting, I've had some back and forth with Kronos in the past, yada yada, not relevant, but what I found interesting is that it seemed like he was being respectful to both sides, which I hadn't seen before, but he was calling out the fact that it was also, he implied it, he didn't say outright that, you know, Pirates fans were being a bit intense too, but he said something along the lines of, people, you know, this is not ImPheetus targeting Pirate in some malicious way, which means like he was looking at both sides of it, which I found like, okay, he's being really level-headed about that. That made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I read the comment, I was like, cool, because in the past, I mean, I am known for silly parodies. I'm not known for being like a serious type, you know, sit and game. Like I'm just,
brother, your profile picture is enough to that.
Yeah, like and I even went as far as to reach out to Kronos directly. Like I messaged his mod and saying, you know, hey man, just so we're clear, like I have absolutely no ill intention towards Pirate. I think he's a cool guy. I, you know, respect his charity efforts.
I think you're wrong, but that's okay.
I know he's a smart guy, so I can't personally take credit at working at Blizzard, so I wasn't trying to disrespect the guy. I just thought it was a funny bit. I figured that he'd hear my voice impression and be like, wow, that's, you know, that's kind of funny. And when I hear it in clips, I don't even think it sounds like him personally. Like I saw some of the clips and listened to them. I'm like, man, I don't even sound a bit like him. So
I do the voice as a joke too. People just find it fun. Like if you get close enough, it's great. And I think really it's just more so like the PNG with your lips thrown on top is just so, it just was so funny. Yeah. I do want to just really jump in. I find it interesting. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like an archivist of the Pirate software stuff. I covered like head to toe everything that had happened after the OnlyFans thing. There was a big blow up later on. And it's really interesting to hear you talk about it. Because, I mean, there is a degree of it where I was thinking based on your response that maybe you were kind of responding the way that you were just out of respect for you wanted to get back to streaming and you were kind of just like, you know, covering all your bases and being like, quote unquote, like squeaky clean about it. But like hearing you chat about it, it's very clear that you are much more out of the drama space by a large margin. It's interesting for me to hear you talking about it because it's very clear you're just out of the loop with it. And for me, that just, it's much more clear that you do have a respect for him that people might have thought that you're being like disingenuous about for the sake of yourself.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I've been streaming for almost 9 years, man. I don't have a single issue with any creator. I've never had a single issue with any creator. I go far out of my way to avoid drama. You know, I keep my head down. I stream solo Rust primarily, so there's not exactly a lot of degree of interaction with other creators doing that.
Yeah,
so
Waylon keeps his nose clean. Like, that's the only one that comes to mind, you know?
I mean, this whole thing is blown up beyond proportion, and I sincerely feel like this could have been easily solved if Pirate himself messaged me, or if he wasn't comfortable maybe forwarding something for Kronos to message me, or if Twitch themselves alternatively
just communication
giving me a ban. Yeah, just send me a message, guys. I do sincerely believe that after this, Twitch needs to kind of look into this whole suspension and banning system. When I received the suspension, it had one word: harassment. That's it. There was no example, there was no detail, there was nothing. It just said harassment, you're suspended for 7 days.
Do you support furries cutting your dick off and terrorism? If not, then you aren't welcome in our golden circle.
I firstly wanted to talk about ImPheetus's knowledge of pirate software and all of the drama pertaining to it. It is very clear that he has no idea what has happened after the OnlyFang stuff. He's aware that things happened, just not what they were. I think from his perspective of people just giving him shit because he screwed up in the game makes sense, but it's also very clear that he just does not know what happened after that. And I too would not understand why so many people dislike the guy. But that being said, he even mentions that he doesn't think that pirate software would be perturbed by his caricature of him, although he very clearly was in the messages that I showed you guys of pirate software, you know, chatting with his Discord about all the clips that he was seeing. I really do suspect that this was probably the doing of some of his viewers. More specifically, like the example I showed during the interview of him kind of responding saying it was hilarious that one of his viewers was going and reporting ImPheetus due to, I believe, a phallic member being displayed on screen.
I think it is a bunch of different people with different things on their minds. Some hate pirate software and want to cause drama by stoking the fire. Some are on board because they're genuinely in a parasocial relationship with pirate software. And some don't care, or just in it for the memes. And memes always make things worse, especially when they're funny.
It was clear their intention was to find any way to report ImPheetus for the sake of pirate, because they felt like he was being wronged, as other people just a little bit earlier in that message chain were trying to convince pirate to like go legal against this guy, which he also found crazy. I don't necessarily think that it's pirate's fault that he has viewers that are going to become martyrs or do crazy shit on his behalf, but I definitely agree with ImPheetus saying that if there was genuinely any communication that he had between Pirate or Kronos, or that they, you know, clarified these things that Kronos, you know, surprisingly at anyone did do in the Discord, that this would not have blown up to the proportion that it did.
Nah, he garnered that audience of freaks, especially after all that has happened and the lack of accountability on Pirate Software's part. You have to be an insane person to still be hanging on. And behind the scenes, it is a very gay and trans community full of furries and degenerates. We all know what kind of insane cesspools festering all over the internet, shitting up everything these people hang out in. I know. I tried to be a part of that community at first when he started blowing up. Turns out, he was not actually my people, and he kept a diverse and inclusive audience with love and passion and empathy, like anime, video games, and sexual identities and pronouns and polyamory and gay orgies and ferret costumes.
Pirate Software might be buying views. Huge shout out to Devin Nash. They had a video just come out just a day ago, I believe 2 days ago actually, coming up on, and it's called Exposing the New Manufactured Viral Content Economy.
Have you got the feeling recently when you've been scrolling social media that you're being astroturfed? That like you aren't choosing the influencers and podcasters and like the brands and the topics that show up for you. You just are kind of a participant. Like the media doesn't feel as real as it used to be. Everything just feels like it's just being served to you, and a lot of times you come across something that you didn't even choose or know about to select. Like if you feel like things are not quite real anymore, this video is for you. All of the things I'm going to talk to you about, you're going to understand that content creation is a gamed system now. This is not clickbait. This is actually true. I'm going to go through step by step what is happening and how a person and a group of people can propel any influencer to high viewership, regardless of content quality. 2.2 billion, with a B, billion views in a single month. He has 69,000 videos. That's short form videos across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube and X. He has 1,610 paid clippers that are working full time to put this stuff out on the internet.
This is why we all need to get together and make cool shit, real shit, based in reality, not identity politics and sexual degeneracy. The game is rigged by people who know ahead of time how to game the system, told to them by others behind the scenes who are popular how to game the system, and they keep all of this quiet so they can keep their thrones. But it's all fake, and it all sucks. And eventually, everything shifts, and you're left sitting on a throne that's meaningless. Nobody actually watches these people. They have to buy views. Nobody watches us either. That's probably because we're hidden. It's just like TV back in the day. You were only popular if they prop you up in the big show that they have, that gets blasted to every hotel, every restaurant, whatever. Social media is pay to win right now. I suspect that large creators have been view botting and buying into clip farms this entire time. I really should trust my gut more on these things and just say shit, because I thought this the whole time. I have been saying it, but I probably should have said it more. I am going to start doing that. If I start feeling something, I'm just going to fucking say it, because I end up being right.
Browse the campaigns listed under the active campaigns category, join the campaign server that best fits your page or interests, and 3, register for that campaign in its registration channel. This is for the clippers. So these people are essentially seeing campaigns for these other content creators and then proceeding to clip the shit out of them, and then they get paid for that based on a CPM for how many views they get. You can see here that there's a ongoing campaign for Caleb Hamer. The way it works is that they pay out 0.75 to 75 cents per 1,000 views, and the minimum required views for payout is 100,000 views, which I think translates to 75 bucks. So 75 bucks for 100,000 views. Now I think you can see where I'm going with this. There was a campaign for Pirate Software, and we can see here the details were that whoever set up this campaign is offering $3,000 per million views, which would be 300 per 100,000. It expired April 3rd, which you guys are going to find interesting in a sec here. And then example caption, Pirate Software gives his thoughts on recent changes to Kick. Requirements, post the video/image below. All platforms allowed: TikTok, Reels, X, Shorts, etc. Now, if we jump over to Twitter and just do a rudimentary Pirate Software gives thoughts on Kick, we can see only up until April 3rd, a bunch of clippers were posting, Pirate Software gives his thoughts on recent changes to Kick. Let's hear what he has to say. And it looks like just using that identical title that they ended up using as the example in the bounty, there is like 6 or 7 here.
This is why you see so many repeated posts from random accounts you've never heard of on the text and image and clips platforms like X, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. People are buying clippers and posts so they don't have to do it themselves, and just outsourcing everything. That's what like the big corporations are doing too with like video games and movies. They're not actually doing it themselves. They're outsourcing contractors. And it loses the soul. So it's all based on how much you can get out there rather than organic growth. And if you say things that major platforms don't like and you don't buy into clippers, I think you're just fucked. Oh well, I'll broadcast to nobody. I don't give a fuck. I'm in it for the love of the game, baby. None of this is going to be remembered in the future anyway, so who gives a fuck if it's all just about... Who gives a fuck? It's all just about getting ahead for these people and making as much money as possible and gaining as much power and popularity as possible until they die. Such a miserable fucking experience. Such a miserable existence, in my opinion. Such a miserable fucking existence. Okay. Such a miserable fucking existence, in my opinion. If you think you have to make shorts to get popular, but you don't want to make shorts, then don't make them. Paying clip farms to boost you is cheating, in my opinion. And it makes everything worse for everybody, because most people don't make good content. Caleb Hamer is an outlier because he's entertaining and he strives for high quality content. But my point still stands. Everything feels really business-based and inauthentic these days, and you gotta have money to actually get ahead beforehand. Lots of it. You gotta have the big creator money in order to become a big creator.
Now, at the start of this video, even while I was recording it, I was thinking pretty assuredly, yeah, it would make sense that Pirate Software is buying these clippers and whatnot to get his content out because he has been on a decline for quite some time now. However, this clip specifically is about the recent changes to Kick, and Pirate Software has kind of been an advocate for Kick, or saying that there are some really good things about it. And that leads me to believe that this might be an internal bounty from Kick, and they want people like Pirate Software, other creators that are talking at all positively about Kick, well, they want those clips anywhere. And so it's a form of advertisement for them. Now, I don't have access to this Discord that Devin Nash has, and it might not just be the only one. There could have been a lot of other bounties for Pirate Software. I'll reach out to Devin and ask him, have an updated comment if I get a response back from him. So there very well could be a bunch of other campaigns running, but just going off of this one alone, I think there is a legitimate alternative possibility that instead of Pirate just, buying this one, which again, it just for promoting Kick, it seems interesting. I think it's very possible that this also could have been coming from Kick.
I think this is a really bad sign for Twitch. Twitch was once full of clip farms. And I really didn't notice how bad it was and how much of the internet was being taken up by them until it all switched away from Twitch and TikTok over to Kick and X. Now other platforms are being overtaken by those same clips that are on Kick and X, or from Kick going to X. It's spilling over to Instagram and Threads now. The culture is shifting because they hijacked the previous culture and then shitified it with demonic sexual propaganda. We're picking up where we left off in about 2012, 2014. I love it. Finally. I feel like I'm in 2009 again with Capcom having multiple titles in a year that are competing for my Game of the Year. Fucking love it.
Pirate Software's crew, more specifically his first mate, that being Kronos, his head moderator, and the rest of his mod team have either been fired or jumped ship.
And a special thanks to Pirate Software for kicking off this movement.
Pirate apparently calling Kronos a parasite.
Oh fuck, that was fast. Exactly how I fucking said it would happen. Overnight, it comes like a thief in the night. It's all fine, and you can hold on until one crash out night happens, and it all falls apart instantly. Every single lolcow this happens to. Like clockwork. I promise, I can't actually predict the future. It's just that these retards don't understand that they fall into these obvious patterns, and we call the spiral every single time because they're not paying attention. And then they all call us haters and bigots, and we're just like, guys.
As well as the rest of the moderation team seemingly starting to jump onto the Pirate Software hate train. We had some sleeper cells from Quaker Nation infiltrate the very public Discord that Kronos has himself, where he hopped into a voice call alongside a lot of the other mods who seemed to just be chatting. And it seems that they were having some conversations in regard to their tenure working for Pirate Software, and I would say the negative aspects of that, which are going to become very apparent.
Well, you're probably not wrong about that.
Now, if you've been keeping up with any of the recent drama surrounding ImPheetus getting his Twitch ban, things like that, this may come as a bit of a shock because Kronos was interacting during that time and communicating with the different parties, including ImPheetus. Now, this got brought to my attention through my Discord, as we have a couple of threads for, drama discussion. But you can see here, it says, no longer engaged on Pirate Software work or associated with him. Contact him directly or go to his Discord server. Now that is not worded, I would say, in a very positive way, but of course that could just be how I'm perceiving this. Let's just kind of go into more of the details. Now, I have reached out to 2 other separate mods to see if they were willing to comment. They were not interested in having a conversation. I don't necessarily blame them, but wanted to show you guys that I made some sort of effort to reach out to them. After those 2 responses, I figured, okay, I think I know how they're all going to be, and I even shot a whisper to Kronos, but of course he did not reply, and he's got me blocked on every other platform.
I bet Pirate Software never interacted much with anybody in his community except to talk shit about people, defend himself in drama, or to chew out people for doing things he didn't like. I can imagine it not being a pleasant experience interacting with that guy.
So this is kind of like the first evidence to show you guys, to show what I'm talking about here. This is Kronos in a VC call, as screenshotted here, with a few other mods, as well as I think a few ex-members of Pirate's Discord. And there's a bit of chatting here, it just kind of seems like, Kronos is speaking out loud and the rest of them are pretty much just like, chatting by typing in the VC chat. Now, again, I don't have concrete proof that they're always talking about Pirate, but using context clues, I think it's easy to kind of understand sometimes when they're for sure probably talking about him. In this case here, right behind me, somebody here says, just anything that might be used against him or proved him wrong gets nuked. The fuck? Now, from what I understand, most of these messages come from around the same VC over the course of a couple of hours in that evening. And I'll just be reading through the main points, but feel free to pause and read the additional stuff at your own pace, whatever. But the top one here to start. So what is this nuke that's dropped that I've apparently missed? It sounds mad. And someone replied to them down here. Thor accused Kronos of being a parasite and removed his mod access to Discord / Twitch / etc. That is where I'm getting this, he was called a parasite thing. And it seems like shortly after that, he ends up putting in his 2 weeks. I say that because in this other screenshot here, we can see, this, gonna prepare the catapult. Right after that, the prepare the catapult. K, I'm assuming Kronos already gave notice, don't stress. They also follow up, and now this kind of seems to get into them, airing their grievances with Pirate, saying, Common, all the collab and raids you did to all different people, versus Thor on a loop only raiding the ferrets does say a lot, seemingly talking about him being selfish. Another previous mod saying just waiting for PS stream and general chat to realize it. I'm assuming realize that all of the mods have disappeared. Someone else saying same here for Block Game. I actually have a really funny clip in regard to that. Not exactly the same, but very similar. Now, Block Game was this like Minecraft thing that Pirate Software was working on with one of the mods here as like the lead kind of Java developer for it, which they ended up stepping down because Pirate wanted it all to be converted over to Hightail, which was a huge job to do, and the mod was like, I'm not capable of doing this at this time.
What a bunch of pussies.
Yeah, that's just level 1.
But Block Game wasn't receiving updates, and apparently it had been down for 4 days, and nobody noticed until Thor got a text-to-speech in his stream chat literally today or yesterday, as the time that you're watching this. And here's that clip.
Block Game is down. It's been down for like 4 days, and no one said a word. I'll go put it back up. I was trying to see how long it would take before somebody actually checks. But nobody seemed to care.
I really think Pirate Software doesn't actually know anything about developing much of anything. Forget game mods and beyond that, even straight up video games. That's why this game sucks and it took so long. Is it even finished yet? I don't even know. I didn't play it. Everyone I trust about video games said it was gay furry garbage with uninteresting and unfinished story. Also, did he not pay attention at all throughout the whole history of Hightail? He was literally trying to do to these guys making this Block Game what was done to Hightail. Hightail got bought out and they tried to convert the engine and it didn't work. It made everything worse and it all collapsed before they got a hold of their own company again and reverted back to the old engine. Like, holy shit, these people aren't actually paying attention because they label all criticism of anything in their gay little degenerate bubbles based on castrating yourselves and children being pushed toward the craziest, most evil and degenerate sexual nonsense that goes so far as mutilation, and say that pointing out all this shit they're pushing is manufactured when it is actually them who are making it all up. When you base your whole movement, your whole culture, your whole life on degeneracy, you get nothing but destruction and pain. That's just how it works. That's how it's always worked. And it's going to get worse for these people. They don't pay attention already. And everything is getting too big and complicated for them. We aren't taking their threats and their deplatforming campaigns anymore. And we're looking for any reason for karma to take hold. Ouroboros, ladies and gentlemen. It's the snake eating its tail. What goes around comes back around.
Oh, you can hear that resentment building. Holy shit. But nobody seemed to care. Now, the following screenshots are not in any particular order, maybe just because I think that's going to be a better viewing experience for you guys, but truly this is just kind of a highlight reel of some of the stuff that they were saying. This one right here, people are saying hi to each other, and then I think they're, again, talking directly to Kronos here while he's in call. I think you were a shield for a lot of BS. And then a bunch of people saying, I canceled mine from renewing. Mine will expire soon. Will end in June. I believe they're talking about their subscriptions to Pirate. Following up in this one, it's kind of clear that the other moderators really were not a fan of Pirate Software. Probably not even Kronos himself towards the end. Someone said here, there's a reason why I wanted this community to be good for you and for all the mods to be chill and be safe from him. Someone said, well, you did lure in people with someone's name. You're a warmer person. He and the community were begging you to stream. And then someone else saying, you are the reason why he didn't lose mods and other streamers quicker. Now, this could be Kronos. It could be also they were chatting amongst each other, a different mod in this chat here. But still, like, making a point like you're the reason why he didn't lose mods and other streamers quicker is crazy. And from my understanding, with as long as they had lasted alongside him, I thought that maybe Pirate had been treating them better than how he treats his community at times.
I call bullshit. Either he didn't know and he's acting like he was seeing how long they would just not tell him and not do anything about it, or he's actually a giant piece of shit. Oh, a game that I'm part of and my community is down? I'm gonna bait them all into losing their jobs now because I only pretended to care about them. They aren't doing what I want, so off with them, they're dead to me now. Like, bro, if the game's down, just be like, hey guys, you know the game's down? Like, you don't have to be a massive piece of shit about it. Because now everybody hates you. Everybody involved with that hates you now. Congratulations, you massive piece of shit.
Versus how he treats people that are more, public facing, like the dramas that we've talked about. But that is just simply not the case. As a matter of fact, one of them pointed out that one of the reasons that they stopped watching him was how mean he was being to his viewers. There's just some kind of like chatting between them. And then right at the bottom here, my biggest problem with him and why I stopped watching him was the casual cruelty he showed to members of the community. And so again, this wasn't just reserved for, just random members of the community. It was clear that it was also him treating his mod team like this, including Kronos, like calling him a parasite and all this after, pretty much everyone has dipped on Pirate. Most of his fan base, most of the viewers that he would have had are completely gone. And now it seems like he is also just turning on everyone that's close to him.
This guy is fucking stupid!
Or maybe this has been a very slow burn over the course of the last couple of years, and now it's finally culminating because he probably can't pay them. Or at the very least, he can't pay most of the mod team that he originally had when he was talking about, paying for their dental and having them have insurance and full paid, full-time jobs.
This is typical behavior for a narcissist moron. He thinks that he's awesome, and all of his viewers and community members are lesser because they are part of his community that he is the face of. He has a god complex and sees his people as peasants. And as everyone attacks him and criticizes him, he thinks it's just hate and campaigns and clippers making money on drama, which is kind of correct. But he keeps feeding the beast by being such an unlikable douche to everybody and can't admit that he isn't hot shit on toast. He's cold shit on moldy bread.
Other interaction here, someone says, Toxic X could be referencing, what's being chatted about. But someone says, or he does some BS to community when you had mental health day like AP stuff in December. Basically fucks with your days off. Now, this could just be them, like, oh yeah, and then when shit hit the fan, like when you had to be out, something was going on. And down here, sorry, you have a reasonable take on stuff, Kronos. Clearly, it's a problem. I almost want to believe that that has to do with the fact that I was, giving him a bit of praise here recently with the ImPheetus stuff. It sounded like he was pointing out the fact that there were a few, pirate fans that were also being a little too intense, thinking that, Fetus was directly targeting Pirate in some malicious way when he was doing the parody shit. Next one up, this one comes along with a clip to show you guys, but they're chatting back and forth, and somebody sent in a Twitch link here from one of Pirate Software's streams, and I'll play the clip here.
I wanted to ask, are the mods okay? Did you maybe lose the basement key? Notice they are less around. Just wanted to know. I don't mind if you won't explain. Was just wondering if everything is okay. Happy to be a part of this place.
You were born what defeat would bring.
Keep on keeping up. Chat, remember to use bread and watch the noodles.
Do you think I should pour some, noodles down there? Like, is there like a food that am I supposed to feed them?
This is the kind of fake mushy shit that is in his community. It's so autistic and weird. And also fake as fuck because these people who say this kind of shit are mentally ill and will kill you, cook you, and eat you if you say anything they disagree with about trans people or any flavor of their identity politics.
Now that you've got that context, they follow up here saying, yep, plus did try to make it a joke so we can dodge it in a funny way. Am I supposed to feed them? ... He, at this point, had lost pretty much most of his mod team, if not all of them. Probably did the thing to Kronos. I think that's what led to all of the other mods also kind of dipping. And yeah, they weren't super stoked about it. Following it up, just seems like these people really prefer Kronos over Pirate Software at this point. Someone is, I'm assuming, messaging someone earlier. Kronos is not Pirate Software mod. Another individual says, Kronos, I'm sorry you have a community of people that prefer hanging out with you rather than Thor because you have a much chiller, cooler place with less drama that could have easily been avoided or reduced. So as much as it is just a good point, it's okay, there's less drama over here, this community. It's interesting that they're making a point that there could have been less drama that was easily avoided or reduced, referencing that Pirate did not handle it well. And then somebody else down here, former mod, he has nobody to blame but himself. He sees enemies and then makes them his enemies. Sounds like, describing how he was turning on his mod team like Kronos. Sees Kronos as an enemy, makes him an enemy, even if that wasn't the case. Following up, though, we have something where it seems like they're chatting about a situation, or Kronos is talking about something that happened to him, and the other people are chatting, saying, when did that happen? Oh God, just always shift on mood is never fun to deal with. Doing something based on somebody's mood that day, that must have sucked. I'm sorry you went through that. That's not okay. Yeah, right. He has no empathy. Again, assuming that they're talking about pirate software. And then the last screenshot that I have to show you guys are them chatting more so, starting with quote-unquote friend. This is the same person chatting in these two that I'm going to read back to back. They say, well, it used to be better than corporate, referring to their job working under pirate software. And then they said, that work environment didn't last very long. And then to jump back before that, someone else had said, friends, so long as you're super convenient. Person talking about how the work environment has changed says, Jesus Christ, man, I know, right? Followed up with, that was my problem with everything. He did very little to see things from any other perspective. Now, where have we heard that before? It is to some degree cathartic to see that the mod team was having the same issues, and now it kind of recontextualizes it that, like, yeah, maybe they weren't the biggest fans of the guy, but they were getting paid. Like, they were a part of that community for however long when it was good, so I don't necessarily blame them for noticing these things, being bothered by them, but still sticking around. It's like when you're doing it for a job and the boss is kind of an asshole, you just kind of put up with it. And then down here continuing, someone said same here, and following after that, and it was always this is what I did and why I did it, that's why it's fine. Which I'm pretty sure is exactly what he explained to Dr. K, and how Dr. K responded to that with being, yeah, that makes you sound incredibly, incredibly arrogant.
I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting, when in reality, I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase.
Sure.
This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality, it's this.
Yeah.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't see it that way, but all right.
Anything he doesn't like, if you push back on him even a little bit, he takes it as a personal attack and labels you as an enemy in his mind.
Now, as it comes to a close, just the last thing to show you guys, as I am a man of my word, here are the photos from me trying to reach out to some of the mods to see if they were willing to have a comment on it. The most I got out of it was they don't wish to comment, also make better content. So I'm going to try to make the jump cuts feel a bit more natural with this one, out of respect for making a bit more quality content for you guys. And same thing with this bad boy. I gave a bit of information here. No thanks. You could just leave it alone, right? Of all the content to create, you chose this one. Now look, were they kind of being stinky to me? Yeah, but from their point of view, I for sure deserve it. And I'm sure that they wanted to be a bit more nasty to me than they even were. So kudos to them for being as respectful in their disses as they were.
How can he see me?
I am genuinely so happy to be showing you guys this. Ross Scott, Mr. Accursed Farms, the founder of the Stop Killing Games initiative, he testified at a EU Parliament hearing talking about the Stop Killing Games initiative, and he knocked it out of the fucking park.
I'd like to clarify what it means to destroy a video game. The second slide. When we say a game has been destroyed, what we mean is a publisher has permanently disabled all copies of it that have been sold so no one can ever play them again. It would be like removing every single copy of a book or film in existence, effectively erasing it from the culture.
Now I ask you, what do you think about all this? Do you think pirate software could turn this ship around and stop treading water and plug all the holes, or is it collapsing and sinking into the bottom of the sea right down to Davy Jones' locker?
Is there any proof beyond pirate software's word that he's paying his mods full-time salary? No! There is no proof beyond their word! Because it's a fucking lie!
Pirate Software has not only apologized, but he was right.
Buy them all. Link in the description. Folly Town mugs.
Adios, turd nuggets.